step into Luna's fantasy whispers, where thrilling adventures, shimmering magic, tender love, and endless wonder await. I'm Luna, your guide to magical tales. Let's escape into a story together with Episode 2 of Whispers in the Enchanted Forest. A magical invitation. Elara's mind swirled with the village's glow and the chilling warning. No human leaves unchanged. That night, as she settled into the guest cottage, her father's coughs weighed on her mind. She pulled out a quill and parchment provided by the village, her hands trembling slightly as she traced the unfamiliar texture of the paper. She wrote a letter. Father, I've found a place of wonder, a village hidden in the forest. I long for adventure, but I miss you. I'll return soon, I promise. Her words felt heavy, each stroke of the quill a tether to the life she'd left behind. She folded the letter, her fingers lingering on the edges, and Thalor helped her send it via a magical bird, its wings glowing with a soft, ethereal light as it flew toward her village. Relief eased her heart, a quiet balm to her guilt, but the warning lingered. What price would this magic demand? She stood by the window, watching the bird disappear into the night, the village's glow casting long shadows across the room. Her thoughts drifted to her father's gentle smile, the way he'd always encouraged her to dream, even when the village demanded she stay small. Could he feel her absence as keenly as she felt his? Elara woke to sunlight filtering through the cottage window, the air scented with lavender and wood smoke. Her dreams had been filled with glowing trees and Thalor's storm-gray eyes, a restless mix of wonder and unease. The village felt like a storybook, too vivid to be real, yet here she was, standing on the edge of something new. A knock startled her, pulling her from her thoughts. "Good morning, dear," came a gentle voice, warm as honey, carrying the promise of safety. Mira Brightleaf, the village herbalist, stood in the doorway, her half-fey features shimmering faintly in the morning light. Her auburn hair was streaked with silver, her eyes knowing, as if she could see the storm of emotions swirling in Elara's heart. "You'll need something finer than that cloak for the Festival of Lights," Mira said, holding up a dress of emerald silk, embroidered with tiny stars that seemed to wink in the sunlight. Elara hesitated, her hands rough from village work, calloused from years of mending and scrubbing. "It's too much," she murmured, her voice barely a whisper, her fingers brushing the worn edge of her cloak. "Nonsense," Mira replied, her tone firm but kind, her smile a quiet encouragement. "The forest chose you. Tonight, you belong here." Elara slipped into the dress, the fabric soft against her skin, a whisper of luxury she'd never known. It hugged her frame gently, the emerald hue catching the light like a forest canopy at dawn. For the first time in years, she felt a flicker of belonging, like a seed taking root in her heart, its warmth spreading through her chest. She glanced at herself in a small, polished mirror, hardly recognizing the woman staring back. A woman who might belong in a place like this, if only for a night. The village square was alive with magic, a tapestry of light and sound that enveloped her as she stepped into the crowd. Lanterns floated above, casting a golden glow over stalls brimming with crystal fruits that glowed like tiny suns and shimmering trinkets that seemed to hum with secrets. Villagers laughed, their voices mingling with music that rose from the earth, a melody woven from the forest itself, as if the trees and flowers sang in harmony. The heart of the forest, the great glowing tree at the center of the square, pulsed brighter, its golden light a heartbeat that seemed to celebrate the festival's joy. Elara stood for a moment, taking it all in. The scent of honeysuckle, the laughter of children chasing glowing butterflies, the soft chatter of villagers exchanging stories of the day. It was a world so unlike her own, yet it felt like a home she'd never known she'd been searching for. Elara stepped into the crowd, the emerald dress catching the light, its stars shimmering with every movement. She felt eyes on her, some curious, others guarded, but Mira's presence at her side kept her steady, a quiet anchor in the sea of unfamiliar faces. "Stay close," Mira whispered, her voice low, a protective note beneath her warmth. Not everyone trusts a human. Lyra, the young elf girl who'd given her the crystal, ran up, her eyes bright with excitement, her golden hair bouncing as she moved. "You look like a star," she said, her voice a delighted squeal, handing Elara a flower crown woven with tiny glowing blossoms. Elara smiled, feeling a warmth despite the wary glances, the crown a gentle weight on her head, its petals brushing her hair like a soft caress. A familiar voice called her name, cutting through the hum of the festival. Thalor approached, his dark tunic accentuating his lean frame, the fabric a deep green that mirrored the forest's shadows. A playful smile curved his lips, and his storm-gray eyes held a warmth that made her breath catch. "You look like you belong," he said, his gaze lingering, the words a quiet promise that sent a flush to her cheeks. Her heart fluttering in a way she couldn't quite name. "The festival pairs dancers for the first song," he added, offering his hand, his fingers outstretched, a silent invitation. "Will you join me?" Elara's heart skipped, a mix of nerves and excitement swirling in her chest. She glanced at Mira, who nodded with a knowing smile, and then at Lyra, whose eyes sparkled with encouragement. She nodded, her hand finding his touch warm and sure, a steady anchor in the whirl of the festival. The dance began, a gentle waltz under the floating lanterns, their light casting golden flecks across the cobblestones. Thalor's hand rested on her waist, their eyes locked, his gaze warm, her breath catching as the world seemed to fade, leaving only the music and the rhythm of their steps. "You're a natural," he teased, his voice low, a playful edge that made her smile despite her nerves. "Is that so?" Elara replied, a spark of boldness surprising her, her voice lighter than she'd expected. Their banter flowed, a gentle back and forth that felt as natural as the music, the world fading until it was just them, moving as one under the lantern-lit sky. A shower of glowing dust cascaded over them, sparkling like stars, a sudden burst of magic that made Elara gasp. Thalor laughed, brushing dust from her hair, his fingers gentle, lingering a moment longer than necessary. A high-pitched giggle echoed through the air, bright and mischievous. "Got you!" chirped Pip, a tiny sprite with dragonfly wings, his form bound to the forest's magic, a playful guardian of its joy. His mischievous grin was infectious, and he bowed dramatically, declaring himself Elara's new friend, his wings buzzing with delight. Elara laughed, the sound bubbling up from her chest, even as Thalor mock-scolded him, his tone fond despite the words. But Elara caught Lord Varyn's stern gaze from the square's edge, a chill running through her, cutting through the warmth of the moment. His silver circlet glinted in the lantern light, his eyes cold and unyielding. What did the elder want? And could Elara face his scrutiny in this magical world? What will Lord Varyn do? Can Elara find her place in the village? Comment below, what's your ideal magical festival? Should Elara trust Thalor or stay cautious?